when we started thinking about 9/11 and what are we going to do for this event, a really good friend of mine, Patty Ryan, who was the original organizer at the event, we were the, like a group of women that we gather monthly, and okay, we have to do something. This is 20 years, and the realization that kids that are graduating from high school and going into the service have no idea. It has 20 years means that we have this generation of kids that just kind of hear about 9/11 the way that we grew up kind of hearing about World War II or Korea.
Good point,
So that we wanted to do something to really recognize the significance of this event and to honor, the folks, the victims and the folks who had lost their lives, and primarily the first responders, and in our case, firefighters.
Right. Wow. And again, I mean, it's something that I think we always need to remember. But you've got some things planned for this year that are going to kind of help it, and there's a lot of different people. This is a nonpartisan thing. This isn't all about any one political party or anything. It's about all of us coming together for the greater good at a time where we remember the price that was paid 20 years ago.
Exactly. One of the other reasons that we wanted to do this is because it is an opportunity to bring people together. And there's a wonderful organization, 911dayofservice.org, and they did an email blast about this is an opportunity for us to transform 9/11 from a day of tragedy into a day of doing good, and to really honor the victims and the first responders that fell that day. There, 2,977 people died that day in 4 attacks. 343 firefighters died just that day. 23 police officers died that day, and there are literally hundreds of surviving first responders who are still struggling with the aftermath and the medical and emotional effects of what happened that day. That in remembrance of this, the organization felt, why don't we come together as a community the way that we came together after the attacks to reach across political or ethnic or religious or cultural points of view, to come together to honor with compassion and service and to just do good deeds on that day. So when we went on the 911.org service site, I mean, there are folks that are serving 3,000 meals in honor of the almost 3,000 people that died. There are races that are running 3,000 steps. There are, community feeds that are going on. There's book forums that are happening. There's highway cleanups. So a wide variety of ways that individuals can get involved to really do service, to transform.
And to commemorate. And it's, you bring up a good point when it comes to the firefighters and policemen involved. It's unless you've been in that situation, you probably don't know how unbelievably weird it is to be running into a place when everybody else is running out.
Right.
And these guys and gals, made the ultimate sacrifice and just trying to do what's right. And doing what's right and doing what's good for the greater good for all of us is what this 9/11 Day of Service is all about.
That's exactly what it's about. So when we thought what we wanted to do, there's a small group of us. We started with a small group, a very homogeneous 5 women. And then we started, other people heard what we were doing, and so now we have this great heterogeneous, wonderful, very, very creative group of people who decided on, okay, what can we do in Payson that's going to have a lot of meaning and draw a lot of people. We really wanted to honor the firefighters for many reasons. Firefighters were the first to enter into the fallen buildings, and most recently, firefighters have been our heroes in KRIM country.
Sure.
So even though there were many first responders, then we had to narrow our focus. And on October 28th, there's another opportunity. It's the National Day of Remembering All First Responders. So knowing that that was going to happen, we felt very comfortable just focusing on firefighters. So that's what we're doing. And my idea, because I love writing letters, and for 10 years in Payson, Amnesty International did great letter writing, and it was, once again, a nonpartisan, reaching across the aisles, writing for human rights that affected everybody.
Makes sense.
So what we decided to do, it's going to be really an amazing day. We're going to meet at the Payson Public Library on Saturday, the 11th, from 10 to 2, and we're going to be writing personalized thank you letters for firefighters in Payson. We'll do that from 10 to 2, 2:30, and then at 2:30, the Hell's Gate fire truck is going to arrive to the parking lot of the library. The Hell's Gate fire truck is going to raise their ladder, and we're attaching 210 thank you letters on a rope, and we're going to raise the towers as we have a proclamation and a moment of silence. We're going to do a community sing. Bacchanal is going to be there playing music.
Nice.
And then we'll, lower the towers again, sing some more. We're going to be singing God Bless America.
And the 210 letters represent the 210 floors that fell.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
That's meaningful. That's great.
Right, and we hope to have about 500 letters written. That's not undoable. We used to do that with letter writing before. We really wanted to involve young people because of what we were talking about earlier, that so many young people don't even know about 9/11.
Right.
So Val Loving and I reached out to the Payson district in the high school, and we are so excited. We have 5 classes in the high school, 4 history classes that are writing letters. The peer counseling class is going to be writing letters, and
Nice.
Payson Center for Success is going to be writing letters also.
Gotta love it. Now, is there still a chance for other people to get involved?
Oh, totally. We'd like to have the entire community come and write letters, number one. Come to the event. It's going to be really beautiful. I think the event afterwards is going to be great, and we still need volunteers. But I think we've got the letter writing piece, taken care of. There's about 10 of us that will be organizing that. We'll be in the new library community room. We're very excited. It's such a beautiful new room.
Right.
We will be following CDC guidelines per the library's directions, so it will be a masked event, and we'll have masks and sanitizer there. We want people to feel really, really comfortable about gathering.
Right.
The room is large enough that we'll have table space, and we'll be sanitizing all day long, and it is a hunk of time to be able to come and write letters.
Right.
We need some volunteers to help us distribute letters, because we'll do the event on 9/11, and then Monday we'll be dividing the thank you letters amongst, I think there's 20 fire departments in the Payson area, and we will be hand delivering these to those fire departments, and a just personal thank you.
Right. Oh, beautiful. And so now, if people want to get involved in that, what do they? Where should they go? Who should they call? What do they need to do?
They can call either me at 928-978-1268, or they can call Patty Ryan at 928-793-2464.
Okay, we'll give you those numbers again in a minute. So if you're scrambling to grab a piece of paper or a pencil or something, we'll repeat that again in a little bit. So now you'd still like to get some people working on writing the letters.
We'd like the entire community to come and write letters.
What else can they do aside from that?
Well, the National Day of Service is an opportunity for all of us to do service in some way. I know some people may not be able to come or not be able to write letters, but my vision was kind of opening the awareness for all of us to do good deeds, to mindfully and consciously do good deeds that day.
Might be a great day to just maybe cut down some weeds in that elderly person's house on your block or something like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Just do some sort of volunteer service. It might be, cutting down weeds or picking up trash, or do you know a homebound person who would really benefit from a phone call?
Right.
Visit a grandparent that you haven't seen. Make that phone call. I don't know how your head spins. Well, mine spins all the time about,
way too much.
man, I should call that person. I should really pay a visit.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an opportunity for us to do that again in a very mindful way, that today is the day that I'm going to honor that I'm alive.
Right.
And in recognition of those who aren't, do a good deed.
I think it's a perfect. Of course, we like to think that we should be doing this every day, but we definitely need to be doing it on 9/11 Day of Service. That just makes perfect sense, and there's so many different ways that can be done. So we hope that you'll get involved in that. Again, when it comes to like these letters that you want written for our firefighters, a lot of times these folks don't really get the recognition. They're usually if they're coming to your house, they're usually coming to see you at one of the worst times of your life, perhaps. just recently, another shooting here in Payson, and there was just another one down in Globe earlier this week too. So I mean, it's these people, they head out every morning to go to work, and never really know for sure what they're going to be confronted with. So God bless them for what they do, and it's a good time for us to keep that in mind and say thanks for everything that they're doing. Again, you can get involved by writing letters, but also maybe be thinking about challenging yourself or your kids or your friends to hey, let's take on a project that day. Whether it's like we mentioned, maybe just trimming down the weeds at an elderly person's home in your neighborhood that can't do it on their own, or there's got to be something that you can do for the greater good, and just setting aside the time and the idea now. Because this is coming up pretty quick here. We got, what is it, a week from...
it's right around the corner.
It's like
It's like 12 days
a week from
away.
this Saturday, I think? Yeah. So, I mean, it's a good idea to get a plan together now. Don't knee-jerk at the very end.
And this is, I've not even said this out loud before, so I'll just say it out loud to you on the radio, but this kind of fantasy that I have is that if we can come together in a National Day of Service at 9/11, why can't we do that on a regular basis as a community in Payson? Wouldn't it be awesome, particularly in this time of great division?
Well, and there's some people that really are working hard to keep us divided too, and
yes.
I think the vast majority of us, whether you think of yourself on the right or the left or whatever, I think the vast majority of us are somewhere right in the middle, but we keep getting labeled, and we need to shun that and maybe just see what we can do for each other for the greater good.
We are more alike than we are different.
Very true.
That is, the baseline. And so our family had an opportunity to visit Rwanda 9 years ago.
Wow.
And, after the aftermath of their, horrible conflict in Rwanda and the millions of people that were murdered, as Rwanda was reunited, the last Saturday of every month in Rwanda is a countrywide day of service. Nobody works.
The last Saturday of every month.
The last Saturday of every month, the entire country, it's a little country, but the entire country comes together and does service. They clean sidewalks, they visit homebound, they make meals, they paint buildings, every single person
Nice.
alive in that country comes together the last Saturday of every month.
For the greater good.
What if we did that in Payson? What if even, once a quarter, we just had a community day of service where we put all of our differences aside and said, what do we need to do in Payson?
I love it. That's a great idea. Well, at the very least, we need to do something on 9/11.
Right, so we'll come together at the library and maybe it's a beginning, right?
And again, if you have thoughts or ideas, or you have some questions about this, again, the two different phone numbers that we have where you can call Penny Navis-Schmidt, our guest here this morning, directly at
928-978-1268.
Or the other number is?
Patty is 928-793-2464.
Outstanding. And this is something that's, it goes way beyond RIM country. This is being done all over.
That's a National Day of Service. Yeah, if you go on the AZ or the state website and then hit Day of Service, there are things happening all over. Every community is doing things. When we first decided to do this, we couldn't find anything else that was happening in Payson. We've since been in touch with a group of veterans that are also doing a event at Green Valley Park at 9:30 right before our event. They're having an honor guard, and we'll be raising a flag and doing some remembrance for the victims of 9/11. So it would be awesome, you could start the day at Green Valley Park, mosey on over to the library, write some letters, come back at 3 o'clock for a community, letter tower rising.
Right.
It's going to be
I think that's going to be real interesting, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
And again, an effort that was born out of the thoughts and desires of a few people, but it's been taking on more and more. I mean, you've been doing this Day of Service in Payson for a while, right?
No, we haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Okay, I guess I was confusing that with some of the other letter writing stuff.
Right. No, we've been doing letter writing in Payson. I was very, very fortunate to be the group leader of our Amnesty International group in Payson for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we did monthly letter writing for human rights and had sometimes 20, 30 people there.
Wow.
We did letter writing on an annual Right for Rights, which was a global letter writing campaign. Mm-hmm. And our little group in Payson often won national awards for the amount of letters that we wrote and the manner in which we did that nationwide.
That's something to be proud of.
Yeah, Oh yeah, one year we wrote like 700 letters.
Wow.
So people in Payson have been amazing coming together for those causes that we all share. And I was raised, if you get a gift, you write a letter. And the firefighters have given us that gift. They've given us that gift of safety and reassurance, and many of them have given their lives.
And they continue to do so. And many of them, walk away with some significant emotional scars.
That's right.
It can be really traumatic, and they just hunker down and deal with it. And that's not easy, but God bless them for doing it.
Yeah.
And I imagine, those kind of challenges, kind of permeate through their whole family and everything else. So we need to find ways to say thanks to our first responders.
Yeah.
They definitely deserve it. And this is a great one. Again, on 9/11, I'm still just amazed that it's been 20 years already. It just doesn't seem like it could be 20 years. But I remember that morning distinctly. And, again, we were talking before going on the air this morning, and there's probably just a few times in people's lives that were like that. And we were talking, remembering when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, remembering when the man first landed on the moon. There's some different things like that where I can remember the room that I was in, the people that I was there with, and everything. Back when Kennedy was assassinated, I was 4.
Right.
So
I was 8.
It left a real lasting impression. And I still now at 62, I'm remembering that, and I find that to be weird in a word, but those are a few of the strange moments through your life, and 9/11 is one that we definitely need to commemorate, and I think doing it by doing acts of service for everyone just makes that, to me, that sounds like a perfect idea.
It's really transformative. As a therapist, I do a lot of work with trauma,
right,
and depression, and those kind of aftermaths of crisis. And doing service is transformative. And being together in a group of people all doing service is like a group transformation. So it sounds like a very, very small act to sit down and write a letter and say thank you to somebody, but the implications are huge for those of us writing the letters and coming together in remembrance,
but also
as well as those who receive. Right. So this is a real win. This is a win-win event.
Yeah, nobody's losing with that deal. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Now again, they need your help. And aside from the letter writing, there's other things that you need people to do with these events themselves?
Well, we need people to help us deliver letters.
Deliver letters.
So
okay.
if you can't come to the letter writing event, give either Patty or I a call, or when you're at the letter writing event, if you'd be willing to help us out on Monday, we'll spend Sunday kind of sorting the letters, and I'm really looking forward to that, to be able to do an in-person drop-off of maybe 50 letters.
At each firehouse?
At each firehouse.
Wow, that sounds so wonderful. And again, need your help in getting the letters written, getting those delivered, and just coming by the Payson Library. Was it 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the ladder truck is?
When the proclamation itself will be given,
right.
And it's going to be really beautiful. As I said before, Bacchanal will be there playing music. John Landino is going to sing, and
right.
He's going to lead us in some patriotic songs, and there'll be a moment of silence and prayer and recognition for the fallen folks. But another way to just kind of come together. And I do want to mention that this is a family event at the library. We've gathered together some children's books and some literature about 9/11, because again, if you're under 20, we weren't around from 9/11.
And what a great seed to plant.
About service.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Now, is the afternoon, is that when the ladder truck is also going to hoist the 210 letters?
Right.
Because that right there, that sounds like a great photo op.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
That was Jim Craig's idea. He's a really, really creative person, and we were sitting around brainstorming, what are we going to put together, what's going to be cool, what is going to be a neat visual. So while we're writing letters during the day, Jim's got a 70-foot rope, and he will be attaching letters to that rope, and then we'll all carry it out in some sort of procession, and then the fire truck will be there, and there'll be music playing, and will be singing while the towers rise.
I
And
like
for me, that's kind of like, kind of rising that tower.
Some great symbolism.
Yeah, really, really good,
Yeah.
good symbolism.
And again, we're about out of time, but if you want to get involved, and even if you don't want to get involved anyway. Call Penny Davis-Schmidt directly. Again, the phone number for you is?
928-978-1268.
And the other number that you can call?
Patty is 928-793-2464.
Outstanding. Penny, thanks again. Good to see you this morning. Keep up the good work. This is a good thing to be involved with.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing everybody on 9/11.
Sounds great. And we appreciate you tuning in this morning to RIM Country. With everything that we have going on here with Community Spotlight on your RIM Country Community Information Station, we just keep bringing more fun stuff all the time. We got some great music to get back to here. Going to be hearing from Queen, the Gin Blossoms, Edie Brickle, UB40, a whole bunch more. But first, a quick look at RIM Country weather. I am, and I'm trying to talk about some band I've never heard of before.
That was